everyone. I'm Kaitlin.
And I'm Jillian.
Wow. And we are the hosts of the OK Drama podcast,
where two friends recap and break down K-dramas one episode at a time.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We have finished Hotel de Luna.
What are you going to do with your life now?
I don't know. Probably try to, recuperate all the tears I shed after watching these two episodes. Fuck, man.
You need to drink tears.
Yeah, I needed, so much Gatorade to rehydrate after all of the tears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you cry?
I did not.
Wow. I was, sobbing yesterday.
The only drama that's made me cry has been Descendants.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Have I cried in any others? Did I cry in... I feel like I didn't. No, yeah, this one... Okay, so... A little peek behind the curtain. For this drama, Alex and I have watched together, just straight through.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, I watch it a second time so I can write the outline. And I, skip ahead a little bit, but just the second time, I think I cried harder.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it later, and even more so in our recap episode with our special guests.
Mm-hmm.
But Alex and I had differing opinions on the ending.
Okay.
And I was just crying. He was like, "Are you sure you still think it's a good ending?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's good."
Oh my god.
Just
amazing.
So it's not just sadness. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's the end of a series.
Yeah, it's just
and you're never going to get it back.
Exactly. It's not just the story. It's the whole experience.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, just really quickly, what did you think of these two episodes, just right off the top?
I enjoyed them a lot. I felt like episode 16 was rather interesting because it, delved a lot in the other characters.
Yeah.
More so than I thought it would. I figured those would be more in 14, 15.
Yeah.
And, the first half of the episode was spent on other characters versus Manuel.
Yeah.
And her about to leave or whatever. So I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. And I, like you, thought that they would wrap stuff up earlier, so the last episode would just all be about Manuel, but it was, very much the opposite. Manuel's story basically got wrapped up at the beginning of 15.
Yeah.
And now it's just, everyone knows, basically she's the central part of everybody's life.
Yeah.
And so with her leaving, it's, now we have to see how these people are going to, pick up the pieces. And, again, jumping ahead, I feel, really bad for Yuna. She got left out of so much stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Justice for Yuna. Yeah.
Well, she's living at least.
At least she's living, and she no longer sees ghosts.
Yep. That's good.
But yeah, I was like, man, they didn't invite her to this. They didn't
or
invite her
this.
to that. She's not in the future. What's going on?
She helped capture the murderer.
I know. And, she really helped have Hyunjin have some closure. But, who am I?
Not a writer.
Not a writer, but great job. Claps for the Hong sisters. Excellent writing, excellent work.
It was a lot of fun.
It was. So I guess let's just get into it.
Okay, cool. Do you want to start it?
Sure. So we start episode 15 with Miss Choi, the bartender, and Hyunjung regretting not saying goodbye to Manuel before she left, and promising each other that they will say goodbye to each other before they leave for the afterlife. It's really sad because everyone's like, where the fuck is she?
Yeah, because it's gone. A month later.
Yeah, it's
or over a month.
And Chansung's still just working away, and they're like, she's not coming back. So we cut to herbalist/glasses Mako cooking up a brew that will be ready next month, but she has run out of new moongrass/moonflower. So when I do my, research, reading a couple of other people's recaps online just to see other people's takes on it, everyone called it moonflower. But our subtitles called it moongrass. Yeah. But they're clearly flowers.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go with moonflower from now on.
I'm cool with that.
But Vicky subtitles calls it moongrass. I don't know what's right. So she's run out of that key ingredient. We see the Reaper and regular Mongo talking about the drink, and apparently it is for the new owner of the hotel, and the drink tastes really bad, to the point where Manuel, from 1,000 years ago, held a sword to Mongo's neck because it tasted so bad. And whoever drinks the moonflower alcohol will transcend the limits of time, and the moon tree will absorb the energy of the living, which makes the drinker the owner of the hotel.
Ooh.
I know, like, that's intense, like, chemistry and physics and
Would you
all
want
sorts
to
of
be
stuff.
the owner of said hotel?
Oh, no. No.
Hotel de Luna.
Only if I was Manuel, because she looks great, and only if I just want to be Manuel. I don't want to be the owner of a hotel.
And you don't want to be a ghoul.
I don't know if I would mind being a ghoul so much as I find my life exhausting. I don't want to be here any extra.
Okay.
No, I want to be here. I want to live. I'm not suicidal. But I just, I feel like
Life is hard.
Life is hard, and, things naturally come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be in a everlasting, immortal situation. I would, I don't want my life to come to an end anytime soon, but
eventually.
I don't want to be here for 1,000 years.
When you're old as fuck.
Yeah, is what I'm saying. I'm not looking to live for 1,000 years.
I gotcha.
Maybe I cap out at, 110.
And
after 110, I'm done.
and you don't want to have to deal with all these other ghouls who have all these problems and they're all vengeful.
Oh, yeah.
And they're
I'm not about to
trying to find their murderer or whatever the fuck.
Or, and then you know me, I get, very chismosa, and I get very emotional. Mm-hmm. So if someone just gossips to me their story, I'll be like, oh yeah, let's get them. I will...
Those assholes.
I will team up with somebody so quick.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to run the hotel. I'd like to visit it.
Yeah, I
think... On a full moon. Or is it a full moon, or is it when it's...
the eclipse?
Yeah, that's when it is, right?
When humans can visit?
Yeah.
I certainly, once I pass... as a ghost, I would like to go to the hotel. Uh-huh. I think I would probably stay a long time, to be honest.
This is nice.
Because of the pool.
Yeah, that secluded little beach.
Yeah, just, the room service.
And it seems fairly dead. I mean, they're dead, but, there's not a lot of people roaming around.
No.
There's just that one writer.
Uh-huh.
The second writer.
Uh-huh.
And then, randos that come in and out.
Yeah. It kind of seems like people just mind their own business and, get themselves, psyched up to go to the bridge. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think that sounds great.
Agreed.
I hope no one's worried about me after.
Kaitlin is fine, y'all.
I'm
Kaitlin
fine.
Is fine.
I already explained myself.
Yeah, you did.
It's fine.
Good. Yeah,
okay.
All's good.
Okay.
Back at the hotel, Miss Choi talks to Chansung about Mago, and she offers him the drug that will take away his ability to see ghosts and remember the hotel. She's basically telling him that Manuel instructed her to give him the drug if it seemed like she wasn't coming back to the hotel. Miss Choi tells Chansung that Manuel didn't want him to come to the hotel without her, and she wanted him to live his own life in reality. Which is sweet, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
But definitely saddening.
I know, Chansung looked,
heartbroken.
What? Uh-huh. What are you doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's not just Manuel, but that hotel has basically been his whole life for the past how many months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who knows what the time frame is here. It's been a while.
It's been, basically the hotel and special appearances by Sanchez and Mira,
yeah.
It's not just Manuel, it's the whole staff and all the ghosts.
Mm-hmm. All the people he's helped.
Yeah, that would be taking a big chunk of his life.
Yeah. We then have a little montage of Chansung thinking about Manuel in different outfits or all of their little fights, which were many. Mm-hmm. After that, Chansung puts the drug back in the box and he sees regular Mago. He asks about Manuel and she tells him to go retrieve the moonflower/moongrass back in time. Chansung walks around the tree and there's like a door there,
Mm-hmm.
and he ends up going back in time, which is kind of exciting.
I know.
Mongo warns him that he cannot drink or eat anything when he's in that other world, or else he will be stuck in that time period.
I thought this was an excellent pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
It was like a little Harry Potter moment, I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
A secret door when you go a different direction.
Yeah.
Chansung arrives in the, how do you say this word? Joseon period. And we immediately see Miss Choi taking care of guests and bartender Kim taking care of the drinks. And it's funny because he's seeing them and he's like, bartender Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Is she manager? No, she's not manager.
Yeah, room manager.
Room manager Choi.
Uh-huh.
And he's seeing, he's just seeing like the people he knows. And it's kind of funny because it's like he's reminiscing, but I'm like, you just saw them though.
Yeah.
In real time. But he's just excited anyway, I guess. I mean, they look the same.
Yeah, it's
Their
just
outfits
crazy,
are just
like,
different.
200 years ago.
Yeah. Chansung finds the moongrass / moonflowers rather quickly. But then, past Manwal approaches him and demands to know who he is. He says her name and this surprises her, and she assumes he's there to collect her debts. She goes to walk away, but Chansung does a wrist grab, and she slams him against the wall like a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Don't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
He says he's from a faraway place, and she won't recognize him from this time. Manuel realizes that he has the sixth sense, like the little boy on the movie Sixth Sense.
I see dead people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, I was just like so excited because it was almost like here's a little side adventure for you.
And will they fall in love in this period too?
And I was just like, yeah. Also, I like really come to love period dramas, so just like seeing everyone in the costumes is like very exciting to me. So then we hear another Mago, and Manuel hides. This one is like Ratchet Mago.
Yes.
Chansung recognizes Mago's voice, and Manuel learns that Chansung knows the Magos and that they like him. And she's like, okay, let's talk. So she decides to offer him a drink.
And right at first I didn't think anything of it, but then in the next scene, there's like food being placed to him and other drinks and stuff, and I'm like, did he drink the other drink? Is he gonna eat this food? Like, she literally just said don't drink or eat anything. Is he gonna be stuck there?
He has to live out the next 200 years. Yeah, so bartender Kim and Miss Choi place like a nice little spread in front of him. And they ask about him becoming the new manager. They're like, hey, we need some help over here. Chansung declines, but then he learns that Manuel has a bad gambling debt, even though she was using help from a pro-gambler ghost. The bad luck Mago has taken basically all of their money as like punishment from Manuel abusing her ghost powers. Manuel comes out looking like gorgeous in her Joseon time period costume or outfit. Chansung gets after Manuel for gambling, and Manuel asks him if he can ask Beggar Mago to leave since they like him. And he's basically like, you can't just ask a god to leave. Like, he knows all the rules now.
Yeah.
And
he's a pro.
Yeah.
He's got this.
So Chansung tells her that he was able to get one god to leave in the past, and he can help get rid of Beggar Mago. But Chansung makes Manuel promise to never gamble again if he can get Beggar Mago to leave, and Manuel agrees to the arrangement. She's even like, you can cut off my wrist. Like, super dramatic. Beggar Mago, like I said, is a hot mess, and Chansung introduces himself. He asks her to stop punishing Manuel, and she's like, why? And he's like,
why though?
Yeah. Eating her rice all crazy. So she's like, okay, well, let's play a game. So they end up playing a game of Paduk/Go. I've only heard it ever called Go, but whatever. And Chansung wins. And I love how Manuel talks about how smart he is. They're like,
oh yeah, and she's like, he's from a place called Harvard.
Do you know where that is? And yeah, I was laughing with Alex, and I was like, man, he's even bragging to people from like 200 years ago. It's hilarious.
Manuel signs a contract promising to not gamble again, and Chansung advises her to sell her horses to pay off her debt, basically like her little cars.
Mm-hmm.
He tells her to find other hobbies that are different from gambling, and he draws a map of Korea and introduces the idea of a food tour. Yum.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how Manuel became a quote-unquote foodie. He's like showing her different places.
Yeah.
Manuel asks Chansung if he wants to go visit all of the places with her and stay on as a human manager, and offers him a drink. He looks incredibly tempted, and I mean, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very tempted too.
Yeah, they already have like so much chemistry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he seems to like the place. Like,
Uh-huh.
he's with all the same people.
Yeah.
And it's just a different time period, but
Mm-hmm.
I bet that would be exciting. In the end, though, he ends up declining, because if he accepts the drink, he'll be stuck. He tells her he has someone waiting for him that he loves. And Manuel seems disappointed, not realizing that someone is her.
Mm-hmm.
He accepts that he might regret that decision later, though.
She's like, "Is it a lover?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Yes."
Mm-hmm. I forgot what she said after that,
Yeah.
but it was like...
I think she says like, "That's too bad."
Yeah, that's
or
right.
Something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah.
Something to that effect. Chansung goes to the garden to collect the flower, and beggar Margot tells him that no one will remember him when he goes back. She tells him he can stay and be Manuel's 85th human and stay with her until he dies, or he can go back as someone who has let go.
Such a hard decision.
Sucks.
I know.
And it sucks even more because, like, he knows she's there right now,
Yeah.
and he can be with her,
Yeah.
versus in real time, will she or won't she come back?
Yeah, he's still waiting for her.
And, I mean, Miss Choi basically said, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
Take this fucking candy or whatever the fuck. I don't know what that thing is.
I know.
It looks like one of those, what are those chocolates called?
Ferrero Rocher?
Yeah, it looks like one of those.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, yeah, is it just like wrapped in like gold leaf? Or
I don't know.
What is that?
I don't know. It looks like, I mean, they said it's like a pill, I think is what Yuna said.
Yeah, but I just don't know if that's like a bad translation.
Yeah, maybe.
Because then they call it the drug or the
Mhm.
medicine. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just going to say it's chocolate.
Okay.
Chansung takes one more look at Manuel, and he returns back to his time. He brings the flower to Margot and says he understands why she sent him, and she tells him that Manuel has returned. Woo! He immediately starts sprinting towards the tunnel to the afterlife, and the rest of the staff is like, oh, she must have come back.
Yeah.
She came back. And they all start running.
So
It's
cute.
very exciting.
So we see Manuel getting out of the car, looking a little out of it, and Chansung runs up to her and hugs her. She apologizes for being late, and then they have a big group hug with Miss Choi, Hyunjung, and Mr. Kim.
How sweet.
I know, I love how Mr. Kim is just like, ugh, and he just like gets to the side, like he's the last
Yeah.
one. So cute. So Yuna and Hyunjung talk about Manuel's trip, and we learn that she has lost some of her memories, and apparently your oldest memories are the first to go. Manuel tells Chansung she didn't lose any memories of him, and he tests her by asking her to choose between the car or him, and of course, she chooses Chansung. Ha. So sweet. She gets scared and asks how many cars she has left, and Chansung starts talking about her debt collectors from the Joseon period, and she remembers them. And she's like, how did you know? I bet Mr. Kim told you. Like, she always throws
blame
Mr. Kim
Kim.
under the bus. So he pours her a drink, saying that he was regretting turning down a drink that a woman offered him, and Manuel gets jealous and starts smacking him, and he confirms it was a beautiful woman. So sweet. So he tells her how Mongo sent him back in time to get the flowers and how he helped Manuel out of debt while he was there. Manuel realizes that Mongo is brewing another drink for a new owner.
Aye.
I know.
We cut to the hospital, and the old guy pretending to be Hyunjung, named Oh Tae-suk, watches over Hyunjung's sister, Hyunmin. Hyunmi, right? Me?
Mhm.
Okay, Hyunmi. Oh Tae-suk, God damn it, looks at an old photo of himself with Hyunjung. And at this point, like, the sister is having some complications, I think.
Yeah, she's not in great
And
condition.
I think they just brought her back or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a flashback, and we're seeing that they're actually best friends, BFFs.
Mm-hmm.
Yuna and Hyunjung talk about it at a cafe, and she starts to think that he was his friend who watched over his sister and did great things in his name. Yuna thinks that his sister will live much longer with his friend watching over her. But then she receives a message that she is in a bad condition. So they race over to the hospital, and Hyunjung goes into the room and mentions that he must be disappointed that Hyunmi is safe. That he, meaning his friend.
Yeah, Taesuk.
Yeah. And Taesuk leaves the room and sees Yuna. And he asks if she took the photo with Hyunjung, and she says no. She tells him Hyunjung is always watching and asks that he keep Hyunmi alive for a long time since they were friends. Yuna tries to leave, but then Taesuk, I'm not used to these names, holds her and desperately asks if Hyunjung is alive and wonders if Hyunjung is making him keep Hyunmi alive. And he's like, has he been alive this whole time?
That would be crazy.
It gets really weird.
Yeah, he's like super paranoid.
Mm-hmm. Back at the hotel, Hyunjung shows the rest of the staff the picture of him and Taesuk and tells them how he is taking care of his sister. But that's not the whole story.
So Miss Choi and bartender Kim approach Manuel and ask her if they can have a special event for Hyunjung when his sister finally visits the hotel. They want to give him a special send-off and let him spend more time with his sister. Manuel looks dubious and suggests that Hyunjung might not only be waiting for his sister, and she reminds them that he came to the hotel with a gunshot wound. I know. Because, I mean, yeah, like, everyone else had these, like, deep grudges or, like, these really strong reasons why they were staying at the hotel, and Hyunjung was like, I'm just waiting for my sister.
Yeah.
Like, no fam. There's gotta be more to the story. Manuel cleans her gun and explains to Chansung that Hyunjung already shot a revenge bullet at his enemy. Basically, she's like, I shot a revenge bullet with this gun, and it basically made
ruined his life.
Yeah, the person who killed the woman, like, haunted forever. And Hyunjung has already done that with his enemy. It's his sister. Hyunjung left his sister with Taesuk, his enemy, and waited for her for over 70 years, but he also used his sister to torture Taesuk. Yuna brings Taesuk to the hotel, and I know. I'm like, girl, that is very brazen. Like, what kind of made you think that was a good idea?
And I think it's because he kept bothering her about it.
Yeah,
and he's probably hounding her.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I was like,
and she's just like a teenager that doesn't know shit.
That's true. I forget how young she is sometimes, but yeah, it's a whole mess. It's a mess. So she brings Taesuk to the hotel, and Hyunjung freaks out. He's like, "Oh, who'd you bring?" And I'm like, "Who did you?
Yeah, who does she know?
Who else?
Who does she know that would know you?
Who are you friends with besides ghosts? No." So, yeah, he, like, freaks out and, like, runs away. Yuna feels bad and says she brought Taesuk because she wanted Hyunjung to be able to reclaim part of his identity. Chansung tells Yuna that this is Hyunjung's choice. And I think it's, like, really interesting because I feel like Yuna is kind of acting not in her own self-interest, but, like, thinking of her own story in mind. Like, she wants Hyunjung to have his identity back because a similar thing happened to her. Yeah. And it's like, maybe he doesn't care about his identity. You know, maybe he's happy the way
things are.
Yeah. And she's kind of, like, forcing the situation on him.
Projecting her own thoughts and feelings.
Exactly.
Bartender Kim and Miss Choi tell Chansung about Hyunjung's past. Hyunjung's family was killed in a bombing, and he was able to escape, and his sister barely made it. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so that's how this guy was able to pass off as being him, because there's no family. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Because at first, like, how the fuck, though? Right. That makes no sense. Right. But now it does. Okay. Yes. And at this point from the bombings, his sister was badly injured, to the point where she was blind.
Yeah, again.
Again,
That
now
helps.
it makes
Okay.
sense. Yep, check. So they took a shortcut through the woods instead of following the crowd, and they're trying to escape like all the bombings and all the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And their plan is to go to family in Busan
Mm-hmm.
before the zombie apocalypse.
Right. Get that train.
And on their journey, Hyunjung runs into Tae-suk, who is a runaway soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, when we hear about him dying and how he was a soldier, we're thinking like, oh, he was killed in combat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Tae-suk is in bad shape, and like Hyunjung is offering him food, like breads and things, and he's basically telling him like, what do you need? Come with us, this and that.
Uh-huh.
And he tries to steal their whole bag of shit.
Yeah.
And Hyunjung is like, no, like,
That's my sister's medicine.
I need the medicine. Like, at least let me have that. And they're struggling for the bag. He won't let it go. And the other guy has a gun, too. And Hyunjung has one hand on the gun, one hand on the bag. They're kind of going back and forth. And he accidentally shoots him. And Hyunjung is kind of alive at this point-ish, sort of. And his sister heard the gunshot. She's, like, screaming his name. She doesn't know where the fuck he is. And he's saying, like, my sister, take care of my sister. And he doesn't know what to do. And he takes his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's when the bullet is shot. The revenge bullet.
Oh, yeah.
At that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting when you think about, like, these revenge things and these grudges and, like, how that happens. Just, like, do you have to just, like, really think about something right before you die?
Yeah. Well, I think it's just that, like, for this specific one, just that this man will always have to take care of his sister, and so therefore he will always be remembered, or he will always remember that he shot Hyunjung.
Someone who was his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he can't ever escape that reality.
Yeah. Sucks.
Tae-suk makes it to Busan with Hyunmi, and basically Hyunjung's family in Busan recognize Hyunmi, and they assume Tae-suk was Hyunjung because he was wearing Hyunjung's uniform. Because right before they struggled, Tae-suk, like, flips and is like, switch uniforms with me. Because he's like, it doesn't matter which side I'm on. Because, again, this is, like, during the Korean War.
Like, I'm fucked either way.
Yeah, so he's a runaway soldier, so he's either going to be shot by his own people or shot by the enemy. So, not great. And ever since that moment, Tae-suk has been living as Hyunjung. Crazy.
And at that point, I was like, he did suck. It wasn't quite as what I suggested last time. When I said he was going to be, like, crazy. He was going to kill you. But he was really shitty.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, I understand why he's also so paranoid, like, as an old-ass man. Because he shot someone when he was young, but yeah, I was like, he is very intense. Very intense. So, Manwal finds Hyunjung by the tree and tells him he looks like a sad puppy who got wet. I love her little, kind of
one-liners.
Yeah. So, Manwal listens to Hyunjung complain about his resentment towards Tae-suk, and she sympathizes with him, but ultimately tells him that it might be a good idea to hear his side of the story, since it will help him, Hyunjung, feel better. Hyunjung still seems unsure, and Manwal goes to leave to tell Tae-suk to leave, and says that Yuna brought him here for nothing. And Hyunjung grabs her skirt like a little kid and is like, wait. I think it's interesting that Manwal is like, it'll make you feel better. And he's like, I don't know about that. But then she's like, I mean, Yuna's the one who brought him here. And that'll all be for nothing. And he's like, okay, I guess. Like, just using Yuna as, like, a guilt trip.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how, I didn't write this down, but, like, Hyunjung is like, did it make you feel better when you heard out the firefly? Like, just, like, kind of turning it back on her. Like, getting all up in her business. Just as Yuna is telling Tae-suk to leave, Chan-sung comes out and says that Hyunjung will see him. The boys meet in a hotel room that transforms into an old classroom, and Hyunjung tells Tae-suk that he's been watching over his old friend. And Tae-suk is, like, an old man, and then, like, through the magic of the hotel, transforms to the same age as Hyunjin.
Mm-hmm. How nice that must feel.
I know.
Young again.
Mm-hmm.
At the bar, Manuel and Chansung talk about Hyunjung meeting his enemy, and Chansung points out that Hyunjung is sweet, and watching over Tae-seok take care of Hyunmi would have alleviated some of his grudge. So, hopefully things aren't that bad during their meeting. Manuel convinces Tae-seok to make a large donation to Hyunjung's old school, and they hold a graduation ceremony to present Hyunjung with a honorary degree.
It's so sweet.
Mm-hmm. A bunch of people from the hotel show up to support Hyunjung, and even the Reaper is there, and he looks pleased. Apparently, he offered his bus to take the guests to the ceremony.
How sweet.
Nice Reaper.
I know.
I've never known a Reaper to be that kind. I was gonna say I've never met a Reaper to be that kind. I've met many Reapers. None have been kind. Afterwards, they all go to Sanchez's restaurant, but only Manuel and the regular crew are visible. Chansung and Sanchez talk about ghosts and possession, and a few jokes are had, while Sanchez is just freak the fuck out. And after everyone leaves, they talk about how Manuel will also be leaving soon, and there's that sense of soon-to-be heartbreak.
Yeah, and Sanchez is he doesn't make that noise, but
he's making that face. He's making
that sucks. And he's still probably grieving about Veronica. So again, that's such a bummer. Bummer all around.
Yep. Miss Choi tells Manuel that she offered Chansung the medicine, but he put it back, believing she would return. Miss Choi tells Manuel that she was happy for her being able to leave the hotel, and Manuel tells Miss Choi that a new manager is coming. And they talk about how Chansung wants to send everyone off before Manuel has to leave.
Miss Choi leaves Manuel's office, and Chansung fills her in on the situation with the pregnant woman. He asks if she will continue to stay in the living world if the baby is a boy, and she recognizes he's worried about her. Miss Choi tells Chansung not to worry, and tells him that Manuel came back for him. She repeats Mago's words about it taking more heart to let go than to hold on. So basically she's
hinting.
Yeah, don't worry about me. Worry about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Chansung finds Manuel struggling with 2 big suitcases in her office, and he opens one up to find an old camera.
Ooh.
I know. Manuel explains that all the pictures on the wall were taken by the managers. She goes through the pictures and the memories of each manager and tries to make Chansung jealous when she remembers a particularly handsome manager. Chansung doesn't believe her, though, and tells her that bartender Kim said that he's the most handsome manager that they've ever had. And she's like, why would you believe him? He doesn't know anything. Chansung asks Manuel why she didn't take any pictures with the managers, and she responds that they weren't that significant to her since they were all just passing through, but now she wishes she had a record of them. Chansung offers to take a picture of her with her staff, and they have a goofy family vibe while Manuel is trying to get everything together and she tells Hyunjung not to smile with his teeth, and for bartender Kim to keep his eyes open. Just such a mom or whatever.
It's a little Addams Family moment.
Yeah. So eventually Chansung joins them, and they take pictures together, and they look so good. It's just such a sweet moment. Mm-hmm. And they make such a beautiful couple.
And a great family.
I know. So sweet.
Chansung starts cleaning up, and Manuel sits on the suitcase and orders Chansung to carry her. He initially refuses, but then swoops in and picks her up and twirls her around, and she squeals, "To the room!" But then he puts her on the couch and tells her that they should go get
Jajangmyeon.
Thank you. Since he took the photos.
And I said, Chansung. She was like, let's go. I was like, ooh, are they going to have a nice romantic moment? No.
He just wants to eat.
I know.
I mean, I get that too. Hyunjung and Yuna admire the photo with everyone. That does not include Yuna. Mm-hmm. And Yuna points out that Hyunjung should have called her.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's part of the team. Mm-hmm. She's the intern.
Mm-hmm. No one cares.
I know.
Because she's part living. And I mean, Chansung is totally living. But he's the manager.
He was sent there.
He's holding everything together.
And Manuel bought him. So.
Yes. He's part of them. He tells her that it was a special moment for Manuel and the staff before the hotel closes. And Yuna's like, the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean it's closing?
I know, again, I'm like, this poor girl...
They're not keeping her in the loop.
Yeah, no. She's like, you guys had a family photo session. What about the hotel closing? What about you and your freaking sister and you leaving? Like...
Who's this old man?
I know,
Jesus.
And she has to deal with school.
Ugh.
Poor Yuna.
And shitty classmates.
I know.
She goes and complains to bartender Kim about how unfair the situation is and asks how she can see Ma go. He tells her that Chen Song has met her a few times. She goes to his office, she snoops around, and finds a card with the herbalist shop's address. We cut to Sanchez's house and we see Mira having drink with Sanchez and Young Soo. They are celebrating that Mira is finally moving out and is now moving in with Young Soo.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they would stay together, to be honest.
Opposites attract, I guess. I mean, I never believed that, but that's what they say. Sanchez starts teasing Mira, saying she's really messy, and Young Soo points out that she's good at cooking, and Sanchez is like, sure, Jan. And it turns out that her family owns a kimchi factory, so that's where the good food comes from.
Uh-huh.
And Sanchez starts being super cynical, but hopes for a good fortune for the future for them, so she doesn't move back into his house, which I totally understand, because she's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want her living with me either.
No. Also, she's a klepto, right?
Yep.
She's always stealing shit.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Back at the bar, bartender Kim talks to two writers. One is the regular writer who's just been, like, hanging out at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
The other ghost is a new guy who just finished writing a novel about a disgraced Joseon scholar. And Mr. Kim's cat ears are like, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The writer talks about the premise, and Mr. Kim freezes. We see many flashbacks of Mr. Kim being disgraced for writing vulgar material, and the author mentions that his work could still be published
Posthumously.
Yes.
Posthumously.
Posthumously.
I always fuck up on that word,
Yes.
and then I used it the other day, and I was like, okay, I need to repeat this like 20 times.
It came in handy.
Yeah.
Who knew? So, yeah, they're like, what was I going to say? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It's just two writers talking.
Two writers talking shop, and Mr. Kim is like, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
Yuna makes it to the herbalist pharmacy and sees the drink that is brewing. We cut back to the tree, and Miss Choi and Manuel talk about the tree and how it has experienced time again with flowers and leaves. Manuel says that she needs to pass on for the tree to actually live again, and then Yuna runs in and begs Manuel to take the drink that she stole from the Magos so everyone can stay at the hotel. And I'm like, dang, she's like really asking Manuel to... Maybe she doesn't know exactly what that means for her, but she's like, no, freaking condemn yourself to a life of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, imprisonment. so I can keep hanging out at this hotel. Like, girl.
Even though the dude that I like is going to leave at some point.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter if the hotel's here or not.
Exactly. So regular Margot tells Chansung how Yuna stole the drink, and they talk about how if Manuel takes the drink, it would extend her life and allow her to stay with Chansung. He asks Margot if she will stop Manuel, but then, being classic riddly Margot, she turns the question back to him and is like, what will you do? I know.
Chansung makes it back to the hotel, and he meets Manuel on the Sky Terrace. She asks him if she should drink it. He starts telling her about how tempted he was to stay with her in the Joseon time, but he would have been the 85th manager. He realized as he hung up their photo, he would be the 99th manager, the last one. He doesn't want to let another meaningless moment pass for her. Chansung tells her not to drink it, and she smiles, saying she knew he would say that. She starts to pour the drink over the ledge, just pour it on top of someone's head. She thanks him and tells him she loves him. He tells her he loves her, and they look all lovey-dovey, and then the episode ends.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know, I was like, you don't have to throw it out, just give it to Margot.
Yeah,
like, that's
give
been
it back,
brewing.
because that's who it belongs to.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever. So we start episode 16, seeing the Reaper walk up to a family. And this is in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Mago is there, and they realize while the parents are dead, the girl is still alive. Mago tells him the young wife is trying hard to stay alive and basically tells him to back off. Just then, a man and his young son see the scene. It's baby Chansung and his dad from a past life. Did you recognize him?
He looked familiar, and I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be Yeonwoo.
Yeah.
Because he talked about how she went to live with him and his mom or whatever.
Yeah. At first, Alex and I thought it was Yeonwoo also.
That's what I thought too.
But then, obviously, we come to learn that it's Chansung. And I, went back to the first episode, and it's the same actors.
It's the dad too. It's funny.
I'm like, I guess you just have the same family forever too? Or, I
guess. I don't know how it works.
So, the dad looks at the wreckage and tells his son not to touch anything because he just just gets right up to the not crime scene, but this.
Ooh, dead people.
Yeah, he's not afraid. The boy sees that the girl is still alive and he helps her out. He tells the girl that her parents are at the Inn of the Moon because that is what the old woman with the flowers said. He asks what her name is, and she draws her symbol on his palm and says Manuel. The boy says it's pretty, and they smile at each other.
Aye.
How sweet. I thought they did a very good job with little girl Manuel's casting.
Agreed.
It looks a lot like her.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to the present with Manuel and Chansung still on the balcony, and they wonder if they met in a past life. Guys, Chansung saved Manuel back in the past too. Do you think that's why Mago chose him? I don't know. It's just a sweet
possibly,
little, kismet.
And then technically, he went back in time and he saved her too with her gambling.
Dang.
So he saved her twice.
Or 3 times.
4 times. Yeah. I don't know. He saved her a lot.
Wow, what a guy. What an angel.
He just keeps saving.
Chansung tells her that sometimes it takes that long for people to meet, just like how it takes over 1,000 years for the light from the Orion constellation to reach Earth. Manuel asks him to point out another constellation. Manuel asks him to point it out, but he says it's only a winter constellation, so they won't be able to see it. Womp womp.
We cut back to Mago telling Manuel that after the next full moon, the energy of the moon will be taken away from the hotel, and Manuel will have to leave. There will be no more guests, and the hotel will cease to exist. It's really sad.
I know.
Fuck. Very final.
I know, and there's not a lot. I don't know the cycles of the moon and how long they take. But that does not feel like a lot of time.
No, I don't think so either. We cut back to the present, and Manuel asks Chansung to point out another constellation, and then there's a funny moment where he tries to be scientific about it, and she just gets annoyed. Then they start being lovey-dovey and squeezing each other's faces, and just... He calls her moon face, I think, which made me laugh, because my mom has this thing where, she'll say things like this woman has a cara de luna.
Oh, yeah, I think you said that.
Her biggest one is cara de sol. And it's, funny. And there's been moments where, my brother and I have been what are all the names that you call people? And she's cara de luna, cara de sol, cara de plancha, which is an iron, face of an iron. It's so fucking stupid.
Is that a flat face?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
And then cara de camote, which is a yam face. It's so fucking stupid.
Oh my god.
I love it so much though.
Alex thought it was hilarious when she was like, I wouldn't have challenged you. You could have just picked out any star. You really think, no.
I know this shit.
Yeah.
Could have said anything.
He thought that was really funny.
Bartender Kim hangs out by the entrance of the tunnel and thinks about how he needs to leave before he sees the book published. He's so ashamed. Mm-hmm. But then, as he starts to walk towards the tunnel, he starts thinking about the promise he made with Miss Choi and Hyunjung about telling each other goodbye before they leave. Miss Choi tells Manuel that she can't find Mr. Kim, and she tells her about the writers. Manuel gets mad and wonders who is writing about their scholar. She gets really, like, defensive and, like, that's our crane. The writer meets with Manuel and Chansung and tells them that the only person who would have read the novel is his editor at the publishing house, because he writes everything by hand. And at this point, I'm like, is this the publishing company from Romance is a Bonus Book? Like,
oh my god.
I'm connecting all the worlds that don't even belong together. It's really stupid.
What's his name? Bong? Is Mr. Bong?
Mr. Bong, I think so, yeah.
Is he there reading this, like, work by hand? Written by hand?
Just like the father. Didn't he write his by hand? Or not him, the old woman.
Lady.
Yeah,
the old lady. She also wrote in Chinese characters, like, crazy. Which is why Mr. Kim got in trouble, because he wasn't writing in Chinese characters. Spoiler alert.
Oy. Manuel and Chansung go to buy the manuscript from the publisher, but Mr. Kim beats them there. Chansung is worried Mr. Kim will do something dangerous, but Manuel knows that he won't. He's too proper, and he's waited too long to remove the stain from his name. Scholar Kim tries haunting the editor, saying, Kim Shi-ik is not a lewd person, and he, like, writes it on the mirror.
I thought that was so funny.
He's not lewd. I'm very lewd. But this ends up being a failure, as the rest of the people at the publishing company are like, you're haunted. The book's gonna sell like crazy. Like,
this is awesome.
This is a haunted book. This is a haunted story. It's really sad to see. Like, at first he's like, oh, I scare him too much. Whoops. Yeah. And then he's like, the fuck?
He's so sweet. I feel so bad for him.
And he's, like, in his proper Joseon garb. I like his little hat.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are called, but
I don't know
it just
either,
looks really cool.
But all of them. The men wore the hats like that.
They look cool.
Yeah. So, Scholar Kim goes to leave the company looking dejected because his haunting plan did not work out as he thought it would. And he runs into Manuel and Chansung. He tells Manuel that he's too humiliated to face anyone at the hotel and will leave to the afterworld on the next bus. Manuel gets after him and calls him a dignified crane and makes him hold his head up high. I loved that scene because Manuel acts like she's all tough, but she is, like, so protective of her staff. Like,
those are her people.
Nobody gets to fuck with her people. Only she gets to make fun of them, basically. And he's doing the thing where he's, like, pouting, and she's, like, lifting his head up. I just thought that was such a sweet moment. Chansung goes and buys a manuscript claiming to be a descendant of Mr. Kim.
Didn't have to do much work, it seems.
No.
Didn't have to prove it or anything.
I know. I guess, like, as a publishing company, as we saw in Romance as a Bonus Book, like, they're probably just happy to get money.
Yeah.
Because, like, who buys books?
In today's
these days, yeah. Chansung lets Scholar Kim stay in his room at Sanchez's house until he feels comfortable enough to go back to the hotel. Scholar Kim tells them his story. He said he was considered a young prodigy for passing the state exam at a young age, but didn't pass the civil service exam. He decided to move to the capital to focus on studying, and while he was there, he started people watching and wrote down the stories of the people he saw. The stories weren't vulgar in nature, but the fact that he wrote them in Hangul instead of Chinese Hanja was looked down upon.
Hangul. What is Hangul?
Hangul is just the Korean language.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so, it's really complicated because basically, like, Korean and Chinese were, like, kind of similar, and prior to the creation of, like, the Korean alphabet, Hangul, they used to write in Chinese characters, Chinese Hanja, but they're really hard to memorize and read and learn.
And I know you said that the Hangul is, like, was supposed to be easier for people to learn and understand.
It is a lot. I mean, I haven't tried to learn Chinese, but it's really easy. Like, when we were in Korea, the museum docent, I guess, was like, basically, if you give someone, like, 2 hours, they can memorize the Korean alphabet. And, like, it's similar.
Do that.
I mean, I have memorized the Korean alphabet now, so I feel pretty good about myself.
Teach me the Korean alphabet.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, so you can read in Korean, but you don't know what it means because you don't know the vocabulary. But yeah, you can, like, sound it out. And so I think King Sejong, the Great was the creator of Hangul because he wanted his populace to be well educated, and he wanted everyone...
Like most leaders.
I know. He wanted everyone to be able to read because he thought a well-educated country would be a successful country.
Nice.
And that's why he's King Sejong the Great. What a great guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically people gave him shit because, one, a scholar wasn't supposed to be writing about people.
Stories.
Yeah. I think, like, writing fiction like that, or just kind of, like, people about, stories about, like, the lower class, because, like, classism was, like, a very big deal back then, was looked down upon, and then, like, writing in Hangul was also looked down upon, because Hangul was, like, the language of the commoners, and, like, Richie Riches still, like, wrote in Chinese, because that was, you had to, like, have time, and to have time, you also need to have money.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of like a
just
status
like
symbol.
Today.
Pretty much. So, Chansung and Manuel realized that the stories he wrote actually became some of Korea's most famous folktales. Chansung proudly calls Scholar Kim the Shakespeare of the Joseon dynasty. Scholar Kim laments that the stories ruined his life. When he finally passed the exam and got an appointment, it was revoked after he was shamed for writing stories that upset the social order. His father starved himself out of shame in extreme, and he was too humiliated to go home and face his wife, so he died alone.
Did he kill himself?
I don't know. I can't tell. I can't tell if he, like, died of a broken heart / lost the will to live.
Like, starved himself too, like his dad, or I don't know.
Or, like, kind of, like, OD'd.
Because it just seemed like
he just kind of, like, flopped over.
Too humiliated and disappointed to, like, face his wife and family, and he was just, like, ending it. I don't know.
Yeah. But they didn't, like, show him do any... I mean, yeah, they're... I guess it's up to interpretation.
Chansung and Manuel fill in the rest of the staff on Mr. Kim's whereabouts in the situation. Chansung realizes he forgot to tell Sanchez about the ghost staying in his room. Then we cut to a scene with Mr. Kim, Sanchez, and the Reaper. And he's like, who is this? Is this a guest too? Like, a guest at the hotel? And he's like, oh no, this is the Reaper. He's like, what?
He's like, let me get you peanuts.
Sanchez, poor dude.
I know.
Chansung and Manuel devise a plan to clear Scholar Kim's name. They decide to rewrite the author's book in a more flattering light for Scholar Kim. The author likes this idea, but can't get started writing without passing out since he died from being overworked, which again is so funny. And it's just like the, is it a lawyer from earlier?
Yeah.
Worked himself to death also. They decide he should team up with the other writer in the hotel who never knew what to write about and never got any sort of, like, claimed fame. Manuel tells Mr. Kim about their plan and points out that they can describe him however he wants since it's a novel. And then there's a little bit where Mr. Kim says that he looks like Soji Sub, a heartthrob, and Manuel says that the back of his head looks just like him.
Just like, keep turning.
At first when he says it, like, she's smiling about, like, how he's feeling better and he's happy and stuff. But then he says that and her face kind of just changes, like, the fuck you do? What?
Did you Google him?
I did not, no.
Here, I'll pull him up really quick. Alex and I Googled him.
Yes, just like him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I love the back of your head looks just like him.
Mr. Kim teams up with the two writers to finish the story. Manuel and Chansung enjoy the novel, and when it is all done, the original writer uses the Dream Service to call his editor and tell him about the new novel, and he gives credit to the young writer, which fulfills his wish.
So sweet.
Yeah, so the two of them can basically leave and move on.
The like, whatever, famous writer was, like, actually really nice for...
Yes.
He's a good guy. For one, being like, yeah, I'll change my story, I don't care. And then for us to also, like, give credit to the young writer, like... That's cool. Bartender Kim treats everyone to a round of his Tears cocktail in celebration of his novel. He says that he is finally ready to move on now that he has cleared his name and erased his shame. They get together to see him off, and Hyungjun cries. and he has a sweet moment where he makes eye contact with Manuel and kind of knows that he can leave. Because Manuel is looking, like, very stern at this point. Also, she's, like, the only one who doesn't drink tears because it tastes bad. So he gets into the car and smiles as it enters the tunnel. Miss Choi waves with tears in her eyes, and even the Reaper says goodbye.
Hi.
I know. Oh.
It's sad seeing them start to go away.
Yeah.
Because they're just so precious. And they get along so well together. And they've been together for so long. And it's just like, oh man, that must really suck.
Yeah. I know, like thousands, or not thousands, but like hundreds and hundreds of years. Like, oh, this started my tears. No. just throughout the rest of the episode, I was crying. Manuel goes back to the office and finds a letter from Mr. Kim next to a glass of tears. He thanks her for helping him and wishes her a good passing. Manuel sips the drink and whispers, "It tastes so bad," which made me and Alex LOL.
That was really funny.
Because she like looks really sad while saying it. Manuel starts to cry, and Chansung consoles her by, like, patting her back.
Hyunjin sees Yuna by his sister's hospital room and asks her why she doesn't come to the hotel anymore. No one invites her.
I know, seriously.
She tells him that there's no point since it won't be there for much longer. She tells him she comes to check on Hyunmi since she knows that once she dies, Hyunjun will go with her. They talk about bartender Kim moving on, and she begs him to stay, but Hyunjun tells her that they sent Mr. Kim off with joy, since there is nothing sadder than being stuck in this world. They start to fight about her growing old, while Hyunjun stays a ghost, and she tells him to just go, and she won't stay and watch, since she is going to study abroad anyway. She's like, it's fine, like, you can go off to the bridge, whatever the fuck, and whatever the other girl's parents are, her new parents, said they wanted to study abroad. She's like, I'm going to study abroad. I'm bone some guys. I'm going to live my life. Fuck you, ghost. Basically what she said.
Yeah, I also thought it was, like, really sad that no one invited her to, like, see Mr. Kim off, because, like, she talked to him a little bit. I mean, come on, guys.
No one cared.
Anyway.
We cut to Miss Choi as she is watching the mother of the baby from her husband's family tree. They start talking, and the woman says that regardless of the gender, the baby will carry her name. Miss Choi says that only boys can carry on the family line, and the woman tells her that her way of thinking is very old-fashioned, and she even calls her out for being from the Joseon period.
And Miss Choi's like, ooh?
She says that the child is hers, and that the grandparents can visit, and Miss Choi, like, starts to kind of cry, and she wishes that she would have acted the same way with her own daughter. Miss Choi wishes the woman and her child a healthy life.
Yeah, I was happy when that woman was like, bitch, it's 2019, like, the baby's taking my name. It's my baby, and
we weren't even together.
Yeah, and, like, the baby daddy's family can be in the kid's life as much as they want, but...
Or don't want, whatever.
Yeah, but, like, it's just me and the kid. So, I liked that. I liked that for them. Manuel and Chansung go to another Kim Jun-hyun approved restaurant, and they talk about her social media. It turns out she only has 3 followers, and he's like, you only have 3 followers with all, like, the time and effort she puts into taking these, like, restaurant photos, and I'm like, is she not using hashtags? Like,
I guess not.
Even bots follow people.
Or, like, her account is actually private, so the hashtags wouldn't even work anyway.
Who are her followers? It's like Yuna, Hyunjun, and like Miss Choi or something like that. Yeah. So he's kind of giving her a hard time, and then Manuel gets a like from Kim Jun-hyun and gets super excited. And he's like, how would he see your photo and like it? Like, he just can't believe it.
You only have 3 followers.
So they talk about why Manuel likes Kim Jun-hyun so much, and she says that he reminds her of the person that saved her hotel with a game of Go, and then suggested she go on an eating tour. Chansung tries to tell Manuel that was actually him visiting her in the past, but she doesn't believe him. And he's like, oh no, I promise. After they're bickering, Manuel gives Chansung the medicine or the chocolate, that will stop him from seeing ghosts, and tells him that he must take it once she is gone. There's a funny moment where Chansung teases Manuel for being 1,300 years old when she can't remember which famous person she's talking about.
Back at the hotel, Hyunjung is dressed in his old uniform and tells Miss Choi that it's time to get his sister. He's there when his sister passes, and he greets her as soon as she walks out of the hospital room. Her spirit appears as a little girl, and he hugs her. And I'm not sure why it turns to, like, young her, when, like, with everyone else, when they die, like, they're that same age and that same, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I'm just applying goblin logic to, like, the whole series. I realize as I edit this podcast, like, I'm like, well, in Goblin. But no, in Goblin, your spirit kind of reverts back to how you want to be.
Okay.
And I'm thinking because they say, like, his sister had, like, a mental illness.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if, like, after the bombing,
she had the mental capability.
Yeah. So maybe, like, her as a little girl was, like, how she was healthy before the bombing, or, like, her in her, like, most her essence, I guess. So that's kind of how I interpreted it.
Okay. Yeah. She comes out, he gives her a big hug, and at that point I'm like, oh, I hate little kid mouths. She's like, her teeth are like,
yeah, she's
teeny tiny. She's like as small as Egon's little chiclets, and she's all gums and missing teeth, and there's like, oh, kid mouths, gross. But he's happy to see her as a little kid, whatever. Yuna is there. She sees this happen. She starts to cry, and then she tries to run away, but Hyunjung can still hear her crying from around the corner, and you see, like, his little figure and his sister in the background. And Hyunjung takes his sister to the hotel and introduces her to everyone. Chansung asks about Yuna, and he asks Chansung to give her the watch that she gave him and tell her that every second is precious and she should do well in school and be happy. So sweet. As Hyunjung is about to leave, Yuna runs up to him with flowers from Mago. She tells him that Mago gave them to her with the promise of her living a good life so he won't have to worry about her. He starts to cry and thanks her for sending him off. He leaves and Yuna starts to sob. And the little girl doesn't console him or anything in the car.
No, I mean...
She's just sitting there. Like,
she's like, can we go now?
Yep, I'm ready to cross this bridge.
Like, yeah, and Hyunjung's kind of just, like, waiting, I think, for her to show up.
Yeah.
Because he's just waiting outside the car and, like, no one else is there.
If they cross the bridge together, do they remember each other?
I don't think so. I think because their memories start, like...
Because I know with Manuel, they said that she even started to forget what's-his-face when she was walking with him. But I'm just like, well, that's shitty to wait for someone, and then you're just going to forget about them.
Yeah. Well, it seems like your oldest memories go first. So, if you were with someone your whole life, I guess if you still have memories from, like, right before you passed, then you would... have those memories maybe right up until the end. But she forgot Chungmyeong because that was from like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. But yeah.
It just seems interesting to like...
wait for someone and then forget each other.
I'm going to work at this hotel for hundreds of years to stay for my sister. But I know that we're going to forget each other. Yeah.
I mean, maybe he didn't realize they would forget each other until Manuel left and they were talking about, like, the roles.
Shit.
Yeah. But maybe it just is, like, it's just about the journey getting to the bridge. Because, to me, that seems like maybe the scary part.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like, what happens when you get to the other side of said bridge? Well... did they explain that on the show and or on Goblin?
No, but I feel like they delved into it in fucking Along with the Gods. Because I was going to point that out last time when they were talking about, like, it takes 49 days. And I was like, oh my god, Along with the Gods. The last 49 days. Which I still haven't seen that movie. Yeah. Maybe we can watch it when I'm all wisdom toothy.
You're all fucked up.
But, yeah, so I guess that... I don't know, is crossing the bridge the journey where they have to deal with all their shit? Or, I mean, obviously this is not the same afterlife as Along with the Gods.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Along with the Gods, the bridge is just, like, one part of the whole
Oh, yeah, you're, like,
thing.
You're meeting everyone or whatever the fuck.
So, I don't know how it works. In Goblin, they didn't ever talk about the afterlife. Like, basically in Goblin, when someone dies, they're greeted by the Reaper. The Reaper takes them... There's no Hotel de Luna in Goblin.
Oh, okay.
The Reaper takes them to a tea house, and he's basically like, you lived a good life. Here's your tea. Once you drink the tea, you forget your past life. And basically, you then get sent to the afterlife. If you are a bad person, you drink, like, a bad tea, and basically, like, you have to reckon with your shit. So if you're a good person, you get good tea and you, like, go to heaven. If you're a bad person, you get bad tea and you basically go to hell. There is one really cool part where I guess a driver and, like, some sort of CEO or whatever, rich person, died together, and they're seated at the same table, and the Reaper gives the driver and the CEO, like, the same tea, and he's like, we're getting the same tea, and he's like, no, like, that guy's getting the better tea, because, like, you fucking sucked. That was not the exact quote, but...
Basically.
Yeah, so... Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
What
the
happens?
Afterlife.
Yep.
So, we cut to Mira and Youngsu, and they are telling Sanchez they're gonna get married.
Damn,
okay, quick. I know, moving really fast. In the winter. So, are we to assume that they've only been together for like 6 months at this point?
I feel like it, yeah.
That's fast, y'all. But I guess when you know, you know?
I don't
know.
I feel like we would have been married like...
a billion years ago.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean...
Some people just move really, really fast.
That's true. And some people just like what they're doing. Blah, blah, blah. So... she asks Sanchez to stand in as Youngsu's Hyung in case her family doesn't like him since he doesn't have any family.
Sad.
I know. And, like, I think we kind of talked about this in other dramas, but, like, having family is kind of a big deal. Like, who's your family?
Yeah.
Mira talks about the different things she'll do to convince her family to accept him, and he tells her that he'll make it work. Mira tells him that she'll make him part of his family, and Sanchez looks disgusted by their PDA.
And again, poor Sanchez, like, he was just about to propose to, like, the love of his life.
I know.
And she fucking died that night. And now he has to see his obnoxious friend getting married, moving out, like, with this seemingly amazing dude.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if maybe it, like, makes him, like, a little sad but also happy, like... maybe it's a good distraction. I don't know, but yeah, that would kind of, like, hurt a little bit. Like, she's basically living the life that he wanted to live. We cut to Mira and Youngsu fridge shopping. Boring. And they, like, have a little fight about the fridge and, like, freezer sizes. I don't know. Like...
unimportant.
Yeah. Mira runs into Manuel at this, like, appliance shop. Manuel confronts Mira and asks her about getting married, and I love her, like, little polite afterthought endings, and she's like, yo. So then Manuel hypnotizes Mira with a swanky TV.
Product placement.
Yeah. And tells Mira that she'll twist her life just like the TV if she hurts Yeonwoo.
And she calls her by her other name.
Yeah, like Song Hwa.
Yeah, whatever
like
her name is.
I thought it was, like, kind of funny, and also I feel a little bit bad for Mira, because I'm like, Manuel has fucked with her mind so much that, I don't know, I feel a little bad for her.
And she doesn't realize it, but, like, on some deeper level.
Like, Manuel's just, like, a little parasite in her brain. Yeah. Chansung and Manuel meet up, and he is surprised to learn that Manuel bought them a wedding gift, and she points out that she won't be there for their wedding. Sad. She tells Chansung that Miss Choi will be leaving today, and they both realize that the next full moon is coming soon. Chansung says that Yeonwoo is no longer the person that loves Manuel the most, and she smiles and replies, I know, it's Miss Choi now. Which reminds me of how, like, Alex and I always tease each other, because Alex is like, yeah, my mom is my biggest fan. And then I say, Alex is like, whatever, I love you most in the world, like a similar thing. And I'm like, no, my grandma Jan loves me the most in the world.
That's funny. We cut back to the hotel, and Miss Choi wanders through, finishing up her work and noting that all of the rooms are empty now. Everything's complete. Chansung and Manuel meet her at the tunnel. She thanks Manuel for letting her stay there and apologizes to Chansung for the Room 13 incident, finally,
I know.
and asks him to never wear the animal print suit again. I thought that was an okay suit.
I know.
Very
He pulled it
flashy,
off.
yeah. Miss Choi recalls the day she met Manuel before she leaves. Manuel caught her stealing a knife from the hotel and asks her if she planned on killing her husband's family. She tells her the knife won't work and throws a sword, but tells her that the person she really hates is herself for failing to protect her baby. Manuel knew that Miss Choi hated herself too much to go on, so she offered her a job where she could punish herself and suffer forever. Before Miss Choi leaves, Manuel asks her if she can give her a hug, and the women cry as they say goodbye one last time.
It was supposed to be the woman cry, not they.
And the women. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, the fuck? They women cry as women do. It's like, what?
No, sorry.
No, it's okay. They hug, they cry, they say goodbye one last time. Manuel thanks her for consoling her so many times and taking care of her, and Miss Choi gets into the car and leaves with a smile too. Chansung holds Manuel as the car drives away. That's everyone. Chansung visits Glass's Mago and asks how much time they have left. Mago confirms that they have until the end of the next full moon. He asks her why they chose him, and she points to his chest and says the moonflower has not shown him the last dream yet. Okay.
Manuel walks around the empty hotel lobby and stands in front of the portrait of her with the staff. She starts to imagine the staff in the hotel, but they disappear. Chansung walks in and she tells him there is one last guest to see off. She tells him that she's sleepy and he carries her to bed. I'm like, so the first episode he's like, I can't carry you. And he brings her the cabbage cart and he's carried her so many times
I know.
since then.
He wasn't close with her then.
No, that's true. Blah, blah, blah. So, he promises to stay by her side even if she's asleep. They both end up falling asleep, and Chansung dreams his last moon tree dream. He is the little boy who found Manuel after her parents died and who told her about the Inn of the Moon. Also, her bed looks super comfy. I'm like, do I get navy satin sheets? Because those look amazing. But it's one of those things where I think, like, in the right, like, scenery or whatever of a TV show.
The right lighting.
Yeah,
the
like,
right
it looks really cool.
paint on the walls.
But, like, in my house, it would just be like, what the fuck? Like, just looking a little extra or out of place. I'll just use, like, my Target cotton sheets. Pink Margot comes to the hotel. She's so extra. I can't deal with her. And she runs into Chansung in the hallway. She asks him about the scissors she gave the bride. He remembers that she told the bride that it requires more love to let go than to hold on. He gives her the scissors, and she offers to cut the connection between him and the person who broke his heart. Does that mean Manuel?
I don't know.
Because he's like, is there a connection? And she's like, I can't do that. Like, that part was so
Yeah, I
confusing
didn't
to
quite
me.
understand what was happening there or what connection they were talking about.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you know, let us know. Anyway, so there's that confusing bit, but then he ends up asking if he can go back in time with Manuel so they can see winter together. They go to the tree, and as they walk around, snowflakes start to fall. Manuel wonders if she is dreaming, and Chansung tells her that it's either a moment from their past or a time they'll spend together in the future.
Manuel tells him that she saw him in her dream. Chansung draws a symbol in her palm and tells her that it's pretty, the same way he did when they were kids. Manuel looks overwhelmed and says they did get to meet again after a long time. She asks if they saw the snow together in the past, and Chansung says he hopes to see it with her in the future. They stand by the tree and enjoy the snow with each other. After that, Manuel and Chansung go to the tunnel. Manuel has decided to go by herself without the Reaper or the car. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn, you're going to walk a lot in those heels.
I know.
But I guess she's a ghost, so it doesn't really matter, maybe? Maybe it doesn't bother her?
Maybe they don't hurt.
Yeah, I guess not. And Chansung says she's brave. She turns to him and tells him she's thought a lot about what to say, but that her mind is blank now. And all she can think is that she wants to be with him and continue seeing him always, and that she doesn't want to leave him behind.
Oh, just tears at this point.
She apologizes and Chansung cries, but he wipes away her tears and promises to not be lonely after he sends her off. They hold each other and cry as Manuel says that she didn't realize that she would be able to fall in love again when she made Chansung promise to not be lonely. Chansung holds her tightly as she says that they should meet each other in their next lives no matter what. He nods in agreement and she thanks him. Chansung can only say goodbye, and Manuel cries even harder, but smiles and tries to leave to the tunnel as Chansung holds back tears. And I'm like, they didn't kiss?
I know.
They didn't kiss one last time?
Maybe there's too much, going on with the faces.
They were too emotional.
Yeah.
Damn.
They did not have a lot of, physical intimacy in this show.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if I'm just, have a dirty mind or whatever, but I was like, they're not gonna even make out or anything. I think we were talking about, right, how all the comments or some of the time comments on Vicky are all horny.
Yes, they totally are. I had to turn those off because they were distracting me.
Yeah, I never watched this, but yeah, I'm like one of those Vicky commenters. I'm like, can we get a little bit more? I mean, I think the drama was great.
Yeah, it was.
It really didn't need any
I just
love scenes or anything
that.
But
I just honestly expected a big old long romantic kiss at the end.
Yeah,
a goodbye kiss. But whatever.
As Manuel disappears through the tunnel, the hotel slowly disappears too. I know. Then we get a voiceover from Margot. As she says, feeling sad and disappointed is only natural when witnessing disappearances. When a flower withers away, just like it dreams of a new blossom, you'll live, meet, and love again. I hope that is the answer you two arrogant, foolish, self-pitying, yet beautiful lovers have chosen. So then we fast forward to Christmas time. Chansung is packing for his move to New York.
Ooh.
I know. And he meets Yuna before he leaves.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. Finally, someone's thinking of her. She still carries her watch that she bought for Hyunjin, and they talk about their lives, and Yuna tells him about school. Apparently, she took the pill that he gave her, so she no longer sees ghosts, and she can finally focus on, the real life and school, and she's doing better. She asks if he took the pill, but he doesn't answer and just smiles.
And I think he's in a non-suit here.
He's in a turtleneck.
It's nice. It's a nice, different look for him.
I know, ooh, cozy shoe song.
Yeah, his hair looked a little bit different, too. It looked a little messier. I was into it.
I know, same. I'm like, I just would love cozy Chan song and to see a cozy Manuel. Just being cozy together.
And speaking of, outfits and, changes and stuff, Manuel changed outfits so many times, and sometimes, in inappropriate times, we have to go help, what's-his-face, Kim. I'm gonna change my outfit real quick. And she's in, a completely different look. They're having a run to this publishing company. But it's hold up real quick. Gotta change my hair, gotta change my outfit, gotta change these nails, and then I'll be ready. And I'm just is she like Sabrina? Can she just, do a nose thing or do a little, finger twitch and her outfit changes? Because if that's the case, then it's okay, that's awesome, that's great. But if she's there, digging through her closet for the perfect outfit.
I mean, I don't know, because before the wedding, Miss Choi was bringing her, racks of dresses.
So, and then there's been scenes of her, doing her nails and changing the color, whatever.
Maybe she's, had a lot of practice over 1,300 years, so she can get really, really fast.
Yeah.
Who knows? So, Chansung goes to visit the Mount Baekju painting and sees Ma Go give a flower to a ghost. And so we're like, he can still see ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks to himself that he still remembers the world where she is.
We flash forward even more, and we see the staff at the park living their own lives. Miss Choi with a little dog that Andrew just saw these last 2 minutes. He got home today and just sat down and started watching, and we laughed because this little dog was as if Edie taught Hogarth, our cat, how to dance on his hind legs.
That's true.
Because that dog looked just like Hogarth. Then we see Mr. Kim jogging, and Hyunjung is playing basketball, and future Chansung is reading Existence in Time. He puts his book down when he sees Manuel standing in front of him. He tells her that she is early, and she tells him that she hurried so he wouldn't have to wait. She rests her head on his shoulder, and he holds her. Then we get this voiceover. Someday, if we reunite in some life far down the road, when the day comes, I hope to always be with you. We'll dream together, hold each other in our gazes, embrace each other, and laugh together as we live happily ever after, side by side. And there goes Kaitlin's eyes.
So
and that's
good.
it. End of the series. End of Up.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did you like the ending?
I feel like I was a little confused.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay. Did you get that, this is their future life?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was just I think everything happened so fast. From him, packing for New York and meeting Yuna to, suddenly, we're seeing Mr. Kim jogging in, a track outfit. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I think it's because they didn't say, 90 years later.
Yeah.
And, everyone still looks like they're from 2019. So
yeah.
It's confusing.
And they're all, in the same place.
Yeah.
So it's just, what are the odds, y'all?
Yeah.
But that was probably the Mago's doing, for all we know.
And just for the writers, for TV show purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, okay, this is, a spoiler for the recap episode. Alex did not like the ending.
Okay.
He really wanted Manuel and Chansung to be together in their, current lives.
Yes, gotcha. As in, somehow she's able to live, what you were saying before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was that's really fucked up. I think he really empathized with Chansung, and, he didn't want him to feel, the pain and loneliness of losing her, so he got, really upset when he had to go through that.
I mean, Yuna had to go through that, too.
I know, and I told him, they got to be together in the future life.
And they look exactly the same.
Yeah. Also, I feel bad that Yuna didn't get featured in the future life sequence, but whatever.
Again.
Left out.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I was I felt conflicted because I told him we had to have that goodbye scene. That goodbye scene was beautiful, and it was really sad, but, also very tender. But then I said, but we also could have had a Mago meets Manuel on the bridge or whatever, and it's basically you did good, and has her turn around and gets to live with Chansung. I don't know. I feel conflicted because I feel like it was really well done, but I also did kind of call it when I said maybe
they'll meet each other
in the future life. All these future life romances.
I know.
I mean, I don't know, but I feel still conflicted because I did think it was really sad, them having to say goodbye. But then I told him, this is just me talking out, my train of thoughts. But, that is also just part of life. People die and, they leave your life. And not even just dying, but just, people come and go. And, that is just the natural order of things. And so it was time for her to go. She was stuck there for so long.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, she was going to miss him, but it was also probably a relief.
Yeah.
Because she's had to, like you said earlier, endure life forever.
Yeah.
Way longer than a person would probably ever want to.
And I'm sure on some level he wanted her to feel that relief. Because he wasn't, begging her to stay. Because he knew.
I'm just curious, what his life was like in the years following.
Yeah.
Did he meet someone else? Did he, like, live a long, happy life with someone? And then, you know, like, want to know the whole story there.
I think it would have been...
And the same with Yuna, too.
I think it would have been good if we just got, like, a little 2-minute scene of, just seeing, like Chansung being greeted by the Reaper or something.
Yeah, just, like, a little montage of him, like, oh, I'm in New York working at a hotel, and then showing him, like, way later in life, older, and then the Reaper coming, and it's the same guy, because he's the fucking Reaper. And then, like, you know,
and then, like,
however many years later.
Then we can, like, quickly cut to the park because we know that, like, Chansung is dead and, like, it's the future now. Also, I'm just now realizing that I did not include the new owner hotel scene.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you think of that?
Forgettable?
Okay. A lot of people online are like, we need Hotel de Luna season 2. Because that actor who, like, is the new owner of the hotel is apparently, like, really famous.
Ah, interesting.
So, I forget his name.
I think I just wasn't interested in that. It's like, it's not gonna go anywhere. I'm not gonna see any more of that hotel.
I don't care about this new owner. Yeah. Apparently, I mean, I don't know if Hotel Blue Moon or whatever is in the work. Was it Blue Moon, or did I just make that up because of the beer?
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, a lot of people are like, we want that. And Alex was like, no. No. He's just, like, so firmly in love with Manuel. And,
Chansung.
Like, he just wants them to be together forever. And I try to tell him, like, at least they're together now in their future life. And they get to spend their whole lives together without the burden of Manuel's past and whatever. All their baggage. They get to just be together as, like, regular people. He's like, He's just not accepting that.
That's, like, basically the same shit that Andrew tells me. Like, every so often, I'm just, like, super bummed, and I'm like, I never got to see David Bowie perform, and, like, I almost had a chance, and I was too young to go, and no one would fucking take me, and that was my one and only chance, and he's like, but in, like, another universe, you've seen him multiple times, and in another universe, like, he's living right now. And I'm like, but I'm not there. And he's like, but you are there. A different version of you. And I was like, well, fuck her. Like, I don't like that. It's not fair.
That's not comforting to you.
No. Fuck that other little Joe. I want to be there.
Yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah.
Because, that was basically Alex's argument. Like, well, good for a future Chansung, but...
sucks for current Chansung.
Current Chansung is alone in New York, feeling lonely.
Constantly thinking of Manuel because he never took the medicine.
Yeah.
Or chocolate, or whatever it was.
The Ferrero Rocher. Yeah, I would have liked to see Chansung, a little, just, like you said, like a little montage of his life, and...
Because they did so many...
passing.
They did so many quick montages of, like, the two of them, like, being cutesy together, or, like, the outfit changes, or her getting flashbacks of Hyunjung and Miss Choi and stuff. Just, like, a little thing like that, I think, would have been beneficial.
Honestly, I feel like they could have cut the new owner scene and replaced that with Yuna and, well, Yuna. Most importantly, Chansung's storyline afterwards. Because, I would have liked to see him, like, maybe, like, go to New York, and then I'd like to see, like, maybe Sanchez, like, find a new love, and maybe go to, like, Sanchez's wedding.
And then Sanchez and his wife go to Chansung's wedding, or meet his new partner or something.
Yeah, or, like, maybe he doesn't even have a partner, and he just, like, grows old with friends. Because I told Alex, because I told him, like, well, maybe Chansung, like, falls in love again. He was like, no, because I only want him to be with Manuel. And then I was like, okay, well, then maybe he doesn't find anyone else, and he's just, like, happy living his life with friends. Like, you don't have to have...
as happy as he can be.
Yeah. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a romantic partner to be happy. And he was like, no, because he's lonely. Alex was just, like, knocking down all of my ways.
He didn't like anything.
No, he just wanted Manuel and Chansung.
No version was right, except for them being together in current.
Forever.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I thought that was funny. But, yeah. I would have liked to, just see those, like, little nuggets. And then maybe Chansung old and with the Reaper. And, yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, I just feel like it was such a big jump. Like, I'm in New York, or I'm going to go to New York, I'm meeting Yuna, and then, like, bam, I'm in the park and it's the future. Yeah. And he looks exactly the same. Everyone looks the same, so it gets kind of confusing.
Yeah, it's, like, really disorienting.
Yeah, and you're reminding yourself, of course, like, this is the future, and they're like, he's not Chansung. He's someone else, she's someone else, or whatever. But it's just, like, it flips so quickly.
Yeah, or it would have been good for, like, for them to call each other different names, at the very least. And that way you could be like, oh, they're, like, definitely different people. But I did like how, like, Future Mantle was like, I didn't want to keep you waiting. I thought that was sweet. So.
Well, anyway. That was it.
Yeah, wow. Good job. Good job, everybody, with Hotel de Luna. Very good. Yeah. All right. Do you want to do a final fashion and I love you?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, God!
For fashion, I said Manuel's Joseon look. So beautiful. What a queen. And I also said her asymmetrical skirt when she goes to see Hyungjin. Did you notice it was like half maybe leathery?
Yes.
Yeah, and then like half whatever wool maybe.
I mean, everything she wore was amazing.
Yes.
Again, it's hard to like point to specific looks. I really liked Mr. Kim's hat. It's a standout piece for me. It was really cool looking. And I liked Chansung's, like, non-suit look.
Oh, his turtleneck?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was all black, too, so it was, like, dark Chansung.
Moody Chansung. Moody, cozy. Yeah, again, just, like, wow. What a great wardrobe. I will say, I did not like the way Yuna's overalls fit her. They read a little toddlery to me.
I'm trying to recall.
I think she wore them at the hospital at one point, and they have
are they kind of like puffy?
Yeah, they're like puffy and like rolled up, and but like really boxy also. And like I don't mind that look, but I don't know, the fit of them just looked a little not quite right.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, she's beautiful. She can wear whatever she wants, but it was just a little weird to me. But yeah, again, probably the best wardrobe of any K-drama.
Yeah, it was very good.
I've ever seen. You know, Strong Woman Bongsoon is a close second, maybe, but.
And, Scarlett.
Oh, yeah.
She always had good looks.
I think that is our ranking of best dressed K-dramas.
I love you moment.
I love you.
I love you. I will always love you.
I love you.
You can go first.
I mean, the obvious is the goodbye.
Yeah.
Also, after Mr. Kim leaves.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, when she goes back to her like room office area and breaks down, even though she has the funny one-liner of
it tastes so bad.
Sadly saying that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like just the last 2 episodes were just filled with so much like love and care for everybody. I really like the moment that Miss Choi had with the baby mama or whatever. I thought that was like really good for her to have that closure, and also just like her being supportive and just like the woman standing up for herself and being like
realizing it is 2019 and women can tell the guy to fuck off
and his family and the baby's hers. So that was nice. But yeah, I just really liked that Manuel Mr. Kim dynamic. And like when she tells him that he's a proud crane and to hold his head up high. It's so sweet.
Yeah, and also whenever, like, it first comes out that the story is being published about him, and she's like, who is doing this to our scholar?
Yeah.
It's very defensive.
I also liked Hyunjung's graduation because all the ghosts show up.
Because they all love him.
Yeah,
he's so sweet.
So sweet, and he's so happy to receive his diploma. So sweet. I mean, this whole, like I said, the last 2 episodes were filled with so many, like, sweet little moments, and then, like, really gut-wrenching, like...
everything getting tied up.
Yeah.
Pretty little bow.
So well done. Good job. All right. So, not next week, but the week after that, we're going to have our recap episode.
Yay!
So, make sure you are following us on our social media at OKDramaPod on Twitter and at OKDramaPodcast on Instagram and Facebook. And our website will be linked in the show notes. We will have a Google poll and Twitter polls. So make sure to vote. We're going to have a lot of awards this time.
And a lot of time to vote.
And a lot of time to vote. So again, make sure you check it out, vote, so we can read the results and your voice can be heard.
Kaitlin will not rig it this time.
I won't rig it, I promise.
As long as we get a lot of them. Because when you only get like a few, it's like, well.
Yeah, and like it's weird, I guess because of Twitter, like you just vote with the tweet that you see. But like some of our polls get like, whatever, 30 people voted in this poll. And then some of the polls are like 4 people voted. And so like, with our 4 votes, like, it's really easy to, like,
sway
turn the tide.
Yeah.
So we'd like a lot of participation, and even if you, like, aren't a poll person, like, just do it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's a Hotel de Luna quiz of some sort.
I was looking into it. I did find one quiz, but it was just like, how well do you know Hotel de Luna?
Oh, no, I don't want that one.
Yeah,
it would be funny to have Andrew do that one.
Poor Andrew.
But I always love, like, the which character are you?
Yeah, I'll try to
Those
look
are
into
always
that.
fun.
I was laughing because, so, spoilers for our upcoming movie recap, but we were kind of teasing Andrew, and I was the only one that Andrew got mad at. And I'm like, it's because I'm not his best friend and girlfriend, so he can get mad at me.
What is it? Were you, like, the third person to do something? That's probably why. Because I think Alex did it first, and then I did it, and then you did it. And he was like, well, god damn it. Like,
Yeah.
fucking everyone.
I was like, okay, I guess. But yeah, so anyway, stay tuned for that too. That will be our little interim episode. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed and give us a rating and a review. 5 stars, please, so you won't become vengeful spirits.
And haunt you guys through computers. Take over your podcast.
5 stars, please. And is that it?
I think so.
Wow. What a journey.
Yeah.
I'm so overwhelmed, overcome with joy and sadness.
Everything, all the emotions.
Yeah. I guess we'll talk about this in the future, but a future drama, I think we're going to do another throwback.
Okay.
Right?
I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah. So if you have...
Tell me what to watch.
Okay. If you guys have any, like, really... If you feel really strongly about another drama we should do, let us know and we will consider it. But I am thinking we'll do the K2 on Netflix. It is a Ji Chang-wook kind of like action. He's the guy from Melting Me Softly, which is like my favorite. We haven't seen a drama with him, but he's been in some of my favorite dramas.
Gotcha.
So,
question.
Sure.
When will we see a drama with Min Min again?
Well, I was thinking, okay, this is a good point. We can either do the K2 or Hwarang, which stars Min Min, Park Seo Joon, which is the guy from the beginning of Parasite,
Okay.
one of the boys from BTS,
Okay.
and a couple of other, like, famous people.
Okay.
It's just, like, what a cast. And it is a historical drama, and I think, like, all the dudes are together, like, they're in some sort of academy to become, like, warriors or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
But I have thought about watching that drama before. I've heard it's, like, pretty good, but it has, like, a lot of star power. And it's kind of one of the, I think it's from, like, 2015 or something, so it's a bit older.
Yeah.
So we can do that one. Maybe let us know. What would you guys prefer? And I selfishly want to watch the K2 because I love Ji Chang-wook, but I would also really like to watch Hwarang. So let us know, and Jill and I will discuss. Anyway, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts and feelings on Hotel de Luna and future dramas we should watch, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, drama.